I was standing at the edge of a diving board, looking 10 feet down, and I could see my dad. He held his hand up in the air. "Jump! I'm scared!" I was only 3 years old. He said, "I'll catch you," and so I stepped off. Whoa. That was fun. I've loved water ever since. In high school, my band director came up to me. He said, "Look, I know you play saxophone, but I want you to learn tuba and march with it next week at State." I looked at him like, "Are you crazy?" He said, "If anybody can do it, you can do it." And I believed him. That next week we marched. We won State. I played tuba. I never did that again. When I was in my early 20s, I went tubing with a friend of mine. We did this pretty often. We were floating down the river, and he said, "The water's lower than we thought it was. You're going to have to get out and step over this low water bridge." All right, I can do that. So I pointed my feet downstream, and when my feet hit the low water bridge, I pushed down on the tube, and it got sucked under, and I got sucked under with it. I've never been more frightened in my life. My legs were pinned against my head hard, my back sandwiched against the riverbed, and I was struggling. I can remember all kinds of things, the smell and the sound of the water, but mostly I could remember looking just 3 or 4 feet, that's a meter, by the way, right above me, seeing the stuff floating down the river and seeing one tree waving in the wind. I was terrified. I was dying. My mom was going to be sad. And then I remembered what my instructor said to me. He said, "If you're ever in a bad situation in the water, do everything you can to be gentle with it, and the water will be gentle with you." And so it's strange to think about mustering your strength to relax, but that's what I did. And my legs that were sandwiched so hard against my head suddenly turned to gel and just unfurled downstream. I pulled as hard as I could and stood up and took a breath. It was the most wonderful breath of air I've ever had in my life. Well, not long ago, a couple months ago, I was talking to my therapist. And I said, "I am sick and tired of being sick and tired." He said, "Well, go tell God." I didn't like that answer. I said, "What's that even supposed to mean?" He said, "Go home. Be in a quiet place. Write those things down. And with everything that you give him, listen to what he gives back to you." So I told him I was tired of being in debt and in doubt, lonely and scared, filled with anxiety. And with everything that I gave him, he said, "Get up and take a step. Walk towards your problems and you can defeat them, or you can choose to walk with them and they'll be yours for the rest of your life." You people are writing your own story, and you need to keep that in mind. So whether you're scared or unsure, or you feel like you're underwater, or you actually are underwater, or you don't know what to do, ask somebody. Or think back on what you've learned and take the next step. Jump in, dive in. It's a wonderful life.